I wanted to ask, what were you most impressed by about Xavier this last weekend?
Just his progress. I mean, his second game that he's played, this year at quarterback. I think people forget that a little bit, but thought he ran the offense well. Got us in and out of some plays. Thought he made really good decisions. Threw the ball effectively, and made some plays with his feet. Thought he did a great job.
How has he stayed mentally throughout this year with just all of the craziness of
Mm.
shuffling around, and just the quarterback position has kind of been a little bit crazy for you guys in general? I'm curious, just how what have you seen from him to kind of stay in a good mental space and stay
Yeah,
ready?
sure. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit, right after the game and in the press conference. Just I don't know if you could have handled the situation better than he has. I've said this before. It's one thing to get moved from wide out to DB or D line to O line or something like that, but to get moved from quarterback, position you played all your life. You're a quarterback. That's who you are. You're a quarterback, and for him to embrace the role as a slot the way that he did, and attack it and have a great attitude and continue to lead and handle his business the right way, I think speaks volumes to who he is and speaks volumes to his character, and so it's rewarding to see his attitude, his him staying the course, him embracing his role, and then to kind of come back full circle to him, being under center and playing the way that he has and leading us to a win was really heartwarming for me, and I'm really proud of the way he's handled himself and the way he played Saturday.
Thank you.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, heading into senior day, what has this senior class meant to you, your first senior class as a head coach?
Yeah. Bunch of tough dudes, that have gone through a lot together, and the ones that we started with aren't still here. And the ones that stuck around, I can't say enough good things about the senior class, their work ethic, just their attitude, their resilience, and their leadership. I think it's been really, really good. And so the senior class means a lot to me personally, and really has been an inspiration to me and the rest of the coaching staff.
What does a senior like Chasen Buckner mean to you in this team, even though he hasn't played in a game in 3 of his 4 seasons? Yeah. What does he mean to you?
Great young man. Like a lot of these guys, loves being a part of this program, does everything he can to help this program in whatever way he's asked to do it, with a smile on his face, great work ethic, great attitude. And, some guys, they're not playing meaningful snaps. As they get older, you can kind of see them disconnect a little bit, and he certainly has not done that. And like a lot of these guys, stayed the course and embraced his role and made the most of it, and is an asset to our football team because of that.
I know senior day is such a tradition, especially in football. How emotional is it out there actually on the field when you're with the individual player and their parents?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a culmination of a lot of hard work and a lot of ups and downs and adversity, and so you want to send them off on the right note. We won a lot of games around here on senior night. It's really important to our seniors, but it's just as important to the rest of those guys who want to send them out, including our coaching staff, on a good note on their last home game. So it'll be emotional, and it'll be exciting at the same time.
What do you remember most from your senior day at Baylor?
I don't remember a thing about it, to be honest with you, Scott. I really don't, just to be completely honest.
But I'm sure your family was very proud of you still, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Thanks.
You got it.
Pete Medhurst.
Brian, you knew when you recruit them, you see them against high school talent, and even on the scout team, you saw them against your team. But could you have ever imagined that Heidenreich, Teska, obviously Xavier too the other day, would show that type of speed where they're literally running away from people? It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. And we knew both those young men were going to be good players here. I just didn't know that they would make the impact that they've made this early on in the way they have. And both great young men. They're the whole package now, the way they do things, the way they practice, their work ethic, how much they care about their teammates, two unselfish kids. And yeah, couldn't be more pleased with their progress. And I'm not surprised by it. I wouldn't say that, but certainly didn't see them making this big of an impact this early in their careers.
The other day, it certainly seemed as if there was an emphasis to try to get those guys the ball in space. Were you pleased at the balance that you got from trying to get those guys, plus others obviously involved too? But as you indicated last week, those guys are your two, right, arguably your best playmakers out there. Pleased with how much you got them involved?
I am. You know, that was, I thought Coach Chestnut and the offensive staff did a great job of planning that and making sure that those guys got the ball as much as possible. You know, sometimes you're an option football team, you can't dictate necessarily, you know, where the ball goes. So there's a little bit of balance there, but I thought the game plan was perfectly balanced, you know, in that regard. I thought we did a really good job of not only getting the ball to those guys, but getting the ball to them in space, you know, and when you can do that with those two and you block well on the perimeter, it's usually a pretty good thing.
More of a technical question here. Your offensive line looks nothing like what you entered fall camp with. You're trying to introduce, you know, in addition to option concepts, some zone concepts as well. Each obviously requires kind of a different technique in terms of blocking. Just how difficult is that to teach and then for them to master? And from a chemistry standpoint, when you're constantly moving guys in and out of the lineup, it seemed as if this week was one of the first times that scheme really got you the results that maybe you guys were looking for.
Yeah, I thought, you know, Grant and Ashley did a great job getting those guys ready this week. You know, we've been banged up. You know, had an injury on Friday during practice that, you know, forced us to shuffle some guys around still, but I thought those guys went and played really, really hard, and I thought they executed really well. All things considered, you know, some of the new things that we had in, some of the wrinkles, and but yeah, I thought last week the preparation was outstanding. Everything starts with those guys up front, and there's some tough dudes, and they embraced the week last week and thought they went out and played pretty well.
Thank you.
Wags.
Coach, going back to the seniors, this is the last class that really experienced the full brunt of COVID. They were plebes in 2020. You know, if I had to go through a plebe year at the Naval Academy in the middle of COVID, I don't know that I would have hung around much longer. What can you on in terms of that circumstance? Can you talk about these guys that have stayed?
Yeah, you know, and that's part of the reason why I think it's you know, relatively small senior class, Wags. But again, just going back to what I said earlier, just it's a tough group, you know, to have gone through that and stuck together and stayed the course, and you know, 3 pretty difficult seasons as far as just, you know, our success on the field and the results that we got, and those guys just kept hammering away, and you know, I want to win games around here, obviously, but I want to win games for those guys more than anything, and I want them to finish this thing out on a positive note. But just really, really proud of that whole class, and the way that they've stuck together, and the example that they've laid out, you know, for the younger guys as far as, you know, how you respond to adversity, and they're going to leave a legacy in regards to that when they leave here, and so it's really important that, you know, we finish this thing up the right way and on a positive note, and because they certainly deserve it. You know, we talk about doing everything you can to deserve success, and sometimes that doesn't, just because you deserve it doesn't mean you always get it. You know, but I think this is a senior class that's really done that, and I think by the time it's all said and done, you know, they'll have the peace of mind in regards to that, you know, the way that they practice, the way that they fought through some things, the way that they stayed the course, and you know, it's really important to me that guys, when they leave here, they have no regrets about their time here, and you know, what they put into it. And I think this senior class, the vast majority of them, you know, will have that peace of mind that you're looking for when they leave here.
So did COVID really impact this class? Did you suffer attrition, the abnormal level of attrition due to COVID? I mean, like I said, if I had spent my plebe summer, I mean, that plebe summer alone is bad, but during COVID and then the plebe year as a whole was tough. But throughout COVID and lockdowns and all that, I would have rolled out.
Yeah, I probably would have to, Wax. To be honest with you, I probably would have to. I mean, maybe some of those guys didn't know any different, but to come to school here and thrive, and you got to be a pretty tough young man, and to stick through it the way that they have, and under the circumstances at times that were pretty difficult, just says everything about this class, I think.
So 2 years ago, East Carolina spoiled senior day with a late field goal, kind of walk-off field goal, if I remember correctly. You feel like paybacks are in order?
I'd forgotten about that, but I don't really look at it in regards to payback. I don't. I think this is East Carolina is a really good football team. Despite their record, they've had an extremely difficult schedule. Really, really good on defense. Getting better every week offensively. Got a ton of respect for Mike Houston. I think Blake Harrell does a great job with the defense. I mean, they're a tough, physical football team that plays hard. They're blue collar, and it's always, since he's been there, outside the first year, it's been a battle with him, and it'll certainly be a battle on Saturday.
I guess you're glad to see Holton Ahlers finally leave. He was there for 8 years.
Yeah, very happy to see him go. There's no doubt about that.
That it, Wags?
Yeah, sorry.
Kareem.
Actually, just touched on what I was about to ask about. You mentioned their defense. I want to ask, what stands out the most to you when you watch them, particularly that tough run defense that they have?
Yeah, I think they're really athletic on defense. They play extremely hard. I think Blake Harrell's done a great job. I know Blake. We've known each other for a while. When I left Kennesaw, he took over as a DC there. Did an awesome job there. And I think there are a lot of similarities philosophically in the things that we believe in on defense. There are multiple. He's aggressive. You got those guys, like I said, playing really, really hard. They're very, very well coached. And all the things that they do, they're a problem. And having been at Kennesaw, and Lenore Ryan before that, Blake knows how to defend the option. And so it's going to be a challenge for our guys. Certainly, not only do they do a great job of defending the option, but they've done a great job of defending everybody this year. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and they're just really good.
Quick and easy for me today. Appreciate you.
All right, Kareem.
Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, another senior who hadn't seen a lot of playing time coming into these last few weeks, but has seemed to have stepped up and filled in on the offensive line is Mike Petroff. That must be tough for an offensive lineman to take the beating they do on a daily basis and not see the game action, but now he's answered the bell for you when you guys have been in trouble.
Yeah, he really has. Mike's been really solid. He's kind of a utility knife on the offensive line. I think we've played him at a bunch of different positions, guard and center primarily, but he's done a great job, really smart. You're able to move him around a little bit, and another one of those guys that embraces his role, comes to work every day, and adds value as an asset, and a guy that's always ready to go if we need him.
Even though some of the seniors might not be vocal leaders, do you see them as just basically from what they do each day in practice and in the games, leaders for the younger players looking at them?
Yeah, I do. I think everybody leads in their own way, and it's not necessarily a real vocal senior class, but I think they lead by example, and they're not afraid to hold other guys accountable, which is great. But it's just a solid senior class, and I think the great example of that is just this past week. After a loss to really what I felt like was a uncharacteristic loss to Temple, to rally like we did, and turn that around at this point in the season, I thought was in large part due to our senior leadership.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck Saturday.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Pete.
Coach, you coached him directly, obviously, his first 2 years, but Rayon Lane continues the trajectory even now into this season. Where do you think he's made even the greatest strides this year to elevate his play, which really I think has him challenging to be considered the best safety in this league right now?
Well, I think his grasp on what we're doing defensively has obviously really increased. Ray was really raw when he first got here, and so I think his understanding of not only what his job is, but what's going on around him, some of the big picture stuff. Becoming more of a we call a 4-dimensional player. I think the thing that you saw this past week was him triggering the run game and getting people on the ground, which is has been something that we feel like he needs to get better at. And he took strides in that regard this week, but he's all over the place. He's a ball hawk. He's an eraser back there, and he just continues to get better the more that he plays. And I think there's still a lot of meat on the bone for Ray. I think the sky's the limit for him, and I don't think he's yet reached his potential. Certainly things that we can all do better, and he's no exception to that. But when he does start to do those things better, I don't know, it'd be a better safety in our league.
You ever had a regular that seemingly embraced teams the way he does? Because he seems like a man on a mission there as well for you.
Yeah, he really is. He takes a lot of pride in the things he does on special teams, and we say he's the best gunner in the country on punt team, and he shows that every week. He plays every snap on defense, and then he goes on the punt team. And there's been some games we punted more than we'd like to, and sort of run down there and 60, 70-yard sprint, and sometimes people are doubling him out there at the gunner, and he's still making plays. But yeah, I think he takes a lot of pride in it, and Coach Brown's done a great job of helping him take pride in that. And but he's been great on teams, and I think when you have starters that are good players, you want to see them make impact on special teams as well. I think some starters could care less about playing on teams. That's human nature a little bit. I don't know, but he takes that role very seriously as an extension of his play on defense, and he's been awesome.
Coach Brown is as enthusiastic about teams as any coach I've ever seen, which is great because it carries over to his unit. Two guys want to highlight there. It seems like Turner Step and Jay Sean McClain are almost on every special teams tackle right now for this team. Just thoughts on those guys embracing that, and obviously the job that Coach Brown and that special teams unit has done for a good portion of the season.
Yeah, I think Turner's been great on teams. Plays with reckless abandon. Does his job obviously, but he's fearless. He'll run down there. He's extremely physical, really good athlete. Has done an awesome job with our teams. And then a young guy like Jay Sean is going to be a really good player here. So it's always great to see those freshmen make plays on special teams. And the more they do that, the more confidence you have of them playing on offense or defense. And he certainly made a mark and has been an asset for us this year on special teams. And I really can't say enough about the job that Coach Brown's done with our units. In the past around here, the special teams has kind of been a wash. You hope not to give up a big play or get a punt block, things like that. But we've made it a weapon, I think, this year. Starting with our punt team, the job that Riley's done, we've protected and covered in that regard. But we've been solid, in all four units. And I think that facet of our game, we've won in most of our games this year. So we couldn't be more pleased with the job he's done, the progress we've made on teams, and just the attitude that he's brought and the pride that our guys take in special teams. And it's important around here, and our guys realize that, and they take a lot of pride in it.
One more from me, speaking completely in generalities here. Is there still value in turning plays in to the league office, to the head of officiating, so you all can get clarity on some, quote, technique type things that perhaps went against one individual player this past weekend where in the grand scheme of football, it looked as if he did not do anything wrong. So you can then clarify to your players what is legal and not legal, because some of that stuff seems to almost be crew to crew now within our game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we turn them in every week, and that's something that they want us to do, because it's good. It's good development for the referees too. You know, they're human beings. They make mistakes, and I think sometimes there's a bang play that, and you guys know there's certain calls that the referees are maybe overly inclined to make. You know, pass interference being one of them, obviously, and then the hits. You know, because we're trying to make the game safer, and I get that and I understand that, but I think they're at times quick to the whistle or quick to pull a flag on some of those things. But it's good for our players too, because you're right. Some of those things there's some gray in there at times, and you want to be able to teach off of that. And there's certainly some teachable moments in regard to penalties this year. But yeah, we make sure that we send them in, and they give good, honest feedback. You know, and they'll admit when they make mistakes, and it happens as part of the game. It seems to be a little bit of an imbalance in it as of late, but I think the referees in general, they want to do a great job, and they're really good during the course of the game. But yeah, disappointed with some of the calls that we've gotten, but you know, probably every head coach can say that, but pretty good little discrepancy in some of the calls, and that's on us too. You know, some of those penalties are penalties, and we got to do a better job with it and clean it up for sure.
Thank you.
Wags.
Can you talk about the importance of building off of the offensive performance? I mean, there's been some stop, start. You played well on offense and didn't. How crucial, and maybe with our line settling in and giving you some consistency at quarterback, but how crucial is it to come out and put together another good offensive game and build off what you did this past Saturday?
Yeah, it's critical. And I think to have some consistent quarterback right now and helps in regards to game planning and knowing where the direction we're going. And I think, you know, the film's never as good or as bad as you think it is when you come back in on Sunday and grade it and watch it and do some good things offensively. But there's like I said a couple of times already, there's a lot of meat left on the bone. You know, we one thing we've not done a great job of, we talked about this morning, is leveraging blocks. You know, whether it's having our head on the correct side when we initiate a block, or having our head on the right side and maintaining leverage on the block is something we've not been great at. And I think we had 26 lost leverages in the game Saturday. And when you watch the film, if we simply leverage our blocks, maintain leverage on blocks, there's a lot of big plays out there that we hit, you know, and some 2 or 3 yard plays should be 9-10 yard plays, maybe even more. So there's a ton of room for improvement. You're encouraged by the way we played in certain areas of the game offensively. I just think there's a ton of room for improvement, and you know, our players see that today, and I know they'll go out and attack it this week.
So one of you had said to Keith Mills during halftime that you wanted to attack UAB a little differently in the second half. And one of the things that the short passing game came into play, and some swing passes and a little short crossing, and they are very effective. In particular, some of these throws to Eli and Brandon. You feel like you finally started to see the short passing game that Coach Chestnut's been talking about, and it was effective, and it opened things up, I thought.
Yeah, it is. It's effective, and you know, it's like the triple option. You want to take advantage of where you get numbers, right? And so, you know, a lot of those are pre-snap, post-snap RPOs. When you feel like you got numbers and you can get guys blocked on the perimeter, you want to go ahead and throw it out there. And I thought we did that. I think there were 2 or 3 times where we probably could have thrown it out the perimeter, had numbers, and didn't. Decided to tuck it down and go to the run option instead of the pass option. But that's something we'll continue to do in a bunch of different ways. And it's just simply, you know, taking advantages of the numbers that the defense has given you. And we got to continue to do that and do a better job of it. But I did think we were able to get the ball on the perimeter, you know, different ways. That's what we talked about being able to do around here. But at the end of the day, you want to take what people give you. You know, if they're taking away the perimeter throws, you've got to be able to run the football, and you got to be able to block people on the interior. And, you know, I thought we were able to do both of those things pretty well at times on Saturday.
So in terms of the goal of getting to a bowl, there's 3 games left, but really only 2 of them going to count toward a bowl, which is an odd situation. That's one thing. They play in the Army-Navy game late is hurts is that you can't. It's not going to count toward a bowl. Those both selections will already have been made. So it's kind of right now. This game and the next game have to be won if you want to get bowl eligible.
Yeah, I think we're we'd love to go to a bowl game. It's obviously a huge goal for us around here. But the most important thing right now is to beat East Carolina, and that's all we're talking about around here. That's all we're thinking about, and all we're preparing to do. Is go 1-0, like we always say around here, Wags, and hopefully that's good enough. We get to next week, and next week is next week, and we'll go from there. But still got our goals out in front of us, and excited about moving forward this week. See how much better we can get going to this East Carolina game.